consider those plans. Do the refugees really pose a threat? Congressman Brian Babin joined us. He's a Republican from Texas who is sponsoring a bill in Congress to try and stop the administration's plan. Congressman, in light of the word about this one terrorist using that Syrian passport, what are you concerned about?
I'm concerned about what I've been talking about since August, Eric, when we dropped our bill, the Resettlement, Accountability, and Social Security Act. We've been anticipating this very type of thing, and here we've had it happen. And it's been proven that it was a Syrian refugee. It came through Greece just a few weeks ago, and headed to joined up with his fellow terrorists and went to Paris. And now we have scores of dead people. And this is going to happen in the United States as well. We cannot, according to our own FBI director, we cannot properly vet these people. And so we're going to import them into the United States. We don't need to do that. And this is what my bill will do. It is H.R. 3314. And it will stop this resettlement plan and the proposal by the president to even enhance it and bring in tens of thousands more of Syrian refugees into the United States.
What about, the humanitarian point of view? I mean, the vast majority of these refugees are fleeing what ISIS represents: terrorism, killing. They've been driven from their homes by the millions. The vast majority seemingly innocent people who are trying to get a better life in the Western world. You can understand why they would want to flee. And your bill yet would, end that completely? What would we have done in World War II during the Holocaust with the Jewish refugees?
Well, we weren't getting terrorists coming in with the Jewish refugees in those days. We know, it's an established fact that Syrian refugees are infiltrated by ISIS. We've got the proof, all we need, 158 at last count. This is a humanitarian crisis. There's no question about it. And the United States federal government is paying billions of dollars right now, feeding, clothing, and medicating these refugees and helping as much as we possibly can. But my concern is not for these folks. My concern as a U.S. congressman here in Texas is for my own constituents and for the citizens of the United States. When I raised my right hand, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution and the health and safety of the American people and the national security of this nation. And we cannot bring this type of jihad into the United States. This is radical Islamic terrorism. We need to name it, we need to identify the enemy, and we need to counter it in every aspect.
But then,
and I'll tell you,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but finally, we're getting out of time, but clearly that would, for the innocent people, the families. I mean, you've got families who've been resettled here. You've got others who have fallen victim to this. I mean, how do you vet them? Should we stop the visa waiver program right now? Because if you got a visa, you can hop on a plane potentially from Heathrow and come right into Dallas. So what do we do right now to, as you say, stop that possible threat?
Eric, we've got to pass this bill. We've got to have people out there contact their congressman to get on this Resettlement Accountability Act that we've offered into the House of Representatives. We've got to get it up there. We've got to pass this. We've got to stop this insanity. We cannot afford to have. I mean, how many Americans are going to have to die for this president and the Democrats to wake up, who say that the gravest threat to the American people is climate change? It's absurd. The gravest threat is radical Islamic terrorism, and we have to stop it, and we have to stop it now. And we don't want a repeat of Paris in the United States, and it will happen. It's not a matter of if, but when, if this continues on the way it is.
Not only that, Congressman, it happened 25 years ago, a week ago, yesterday, the suspected terrorist Al-Said Nosair, convicted terrorist, I should say, part of a radical Islamic terrorist cell that was eventually proven he's in prison for the rest of his life. It continues. Congressman Babin from Houston, Texas today. Thank you so much for joining us.